Well, students, today we will discuss the most important topic, constructivism. Right? It is a paper third teaching learning process. This topic comes under paper third of B.Ed. Constructivism. So, what is basically constructivism? Constructivism basically it is a learning theory. Right? Constructivism says that human constructs their own understanding and knowledge of the world, right, through experiencing things and reflecting on those experience, right guys. In the previous lectures we have done the behaviorism talks about the we have to give the stimulations to the child, then we can get the response from the child. Okay, stimulate we have to get from the environment. Behaviorism talks about the stimulation, and by the stimulations we get the response. And behaviorism says that human mind is a black box. Okay, they does not take into account mental activity. But when we talk about the cognitivism says that it talks about the mental processes. Okay, cognitivism says that emotions, moods, even motivations, memory also plays an important role in learning. But when we talk about the constructivism, okay, this theory, these things came after this. Constructivism wants to say that human constructs their own understanding. Means students, children, they construct their own understanding and knowledge of the world through experiencing things and reflecting on those experience. Right, guys? It means suppose one child, by interacting with the friends, by interacting with the peer groups, okay, by visiting different places, he has constructed in his mind, right, something, some experience he has constructed in the mind. Okay, so this theory wants to say that human construct their own understanding and knowledge of the world through experiencing things and reflecting on those experience, right? Again, people actively control their own knowledge and learning based on their individual experience and understanding of the world. Next, more we go deeper. When constructivism wants to say that when new information is presented, people have to decide if they are willing to accept this information by aligning it with their previous conception or discard it due to its inability to fit with their own belief. I explain you in a simple term. Okay, constructivism wants to say that, for example, one children, by interacting with the their friends, by interacting with different places, right, he has made a one theory in the mind. Okay, he has constructed one thing in the mind based on the experience. Okay, one information he has in the mind because he has experienced that information. Now what happens when he interacts a new knowledge? When a teacher, when any of the person, he gives the new knowledge to him. So what the child does, what the child does, child compares that information with their previous experience. If it aligns, then child accepts it. If it does not align, then child discards. Understood? Okay. So in order to make this distinction, we must ask questions, investigate and evaluate what we know. This is the most important theory, guys. Constructivism theory. Okay, this is the most important line also. What he is saying that we must ask the question. So constructivism wants to say that when the teacher has to teach anything in the class, he don't have to go into the class and start teaching their topic naming by naming. Teacher, first of all, asks some of the questions from the students, right, related with the topic, whatever the topic he has in the mind. If students are giving the response, right, correct responses, then the teacher should start that topic. Okay, if the student have some problem, okay, they are not giving the right responses, so then teacher has to find out the problem of the student. Then he should discard the topic and he should start from that topic the student has the problem, right? The essential core of constructivism is that the essential core of constructivism is that we construct our reality through experience and by reflections on that experience. Right, guys? In a simple term, constructivism wants to say that we, matlab human beings, construct their own knowledge and understanding of the world based on the experience, whatever the experience we have got by from the culture, from the society where we have nourished, Anna, what were our friends, Anna, from the relatives, from the different places. Okay, we construct our own thinking, we construct our own understanding, we construct our own world based on our experience, right? If new knowledge comes in front of you, we compare that knowledge with our experience. If it aligns, then we accept, otherwise we discard, right? Okay, guys. Next, constructivist view of learning hai. What is constructivist view of learning? Okay, so according to the constructivist view of learning, learning is an active process. Constructivism allows students to construct their own learning. Okay, see this line again. Read carefully this line. Constructivism allows students to construct their own learning. What is the meaning of that? Being of a teacher, you have to allow the student to construct their own learning. Got it, guys? Means teacher is not a, this is not a job of teacher. You have to pouring into the mind of the student lot of things, right? The student mind is not a dustbin. The student mind is not a, you can say, store, right? Even whatever you want, you have the lecture in your mind and you know that your intention is that student should learn this lecture, then you have to create such kind of a situation, means such kind of a content you have to involve in your lecture. By those contents, students can construct their own learning. Got it? Knowledge is constructed. Next line. Next, constructivist view of learning. Knowledge is constructed rather than innate. Dekho, we have come to know from this. Innate knowledge nahi hoti hai, right? When the baby born, it does not come with that knowledge, right? Or passively absorbed. We have also done in the idealism also, na? When the baby born, all the knowledge, everything is in the mind of the baby, right? The job of the teacher, the job of the guru is to inspire, arouse the learning capability of the student, right? Next, knowledge is invented, not discovered. Okay, constructivism wants to say that it is invented, right? Means you should say to your student to take part in the various activities. From that, they can learn their own, they can learn whatever you want, and their own point of view, right? All knowledge is a socially constructed. Learning is essentially a process of making sense of the world. Okay, and what were the supporters of constructivism? Vygotsky, Jean Piaget, John Dewey, and J. Seymour Brunner, right? Peter Singh wants to say that knowledge is constructed, not transferred, right? Means being of a teacher, you want that, you want to understand one topic to the student. Your intention is that this topic should be understood by the student. Okay. Constructivism says that, you know, if you want these things, that you should give some assignment to the student and say the student do their self. Okay, when the student will do their self with their experience, so what the student is doing, student is constructed the knowledge by himself, right? And under the constructivism, according to the constructivism, the role of a teacher, it should be facilitator, right? John Dewey, what the John Dewey says, we do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience. Okay. For example, we have made a one experience. One experience we have made. Suppose we have visited somewhere, we have talked with the friends, and from the friends we have got the knowledge. But that knowledge is very vague. Okay. When the teacher comes in the class, or we listens from any of the conference and any of the seminar, so we reflect that experience, whatever we are getting from the seminar. So that's why John Dewey wants to say that we do not learn from experience, even we learn from reflecting on experience, right? Now, what are the assumptions and principles of the constructivism? So constructivism is a view in which knowledge is believed to be constructed rather than acquired. You have understood, it's a very easy point. Next, knowledge, next assumption. What is the next assumption? Knowledge is a product of human interaction. Yes, constructivism wants to say that you will get more and more knowledge when you interact with the person. You have seen that if any person has a reserved nature, he does not talk more with the other person. So research says that means if we have to learn more and more knowledge, we have to interact with the other persons. And you have seen in the family and in the society also, right? If the person is alone, reserved nature, so how he can get the knowledge? Okay, so he makes his own point of view. So constructivism wants to say that knowledge is a product of the human interaction. You have to interact more and more. Knowledge is a socially and culturally constructed that is influenced by the group and its environment. We already done. Learning is a social activity, right? So you know that whatever we are learning, it is a social activity. Learning is a search for meaning. Meaning requires understanding whole as well as parts, right? Next assumption is that knowledge is constructed by learners as they attempt to make sense of their experience, right? And again, all knowledge is constructed and all learning is process of that construction. Understood, guys? Next, we do the educational implication. Under the educational implication, we will understand what is the role of a teacher under the constructivism and what is the role of student under the constructivism, right? Because whatever the topic we are doing, educational implication is most important, right? And in fact, in the exams, we have to write the educational implications more and more. Okay, by explaining the particular ism, we have to go in detail regarding the educational implication. So according to the constructivism, the role of a teacher is number first to instruct learner. अब देखो क्या है, being of a constructivist, okay, what should be your classroom? Okay, right? You have done the constructivism theory of a learning. You should know that from that way I have to teach. So what you should adopt, what you have to teach. So constructivism wants to say that to instruct a learner on how to construct meaning and give the learners the help they need in constructing new knowledge and meanings. Okay, it does not mean you open the book and start teaching and you say that I'm a very good teacher. It does not mean. Okay, you will be called good teacher only, okay, when student learns. Okay, so you have to instruct the learner on how to construct meaning and give the learners the help they need in constructing new knowledge and meanings, right? Next, the role of a teacher in constructivism is teacher should also facilitate peer interactions and cooperation between learners, right? Means in your classroom, okay, suppose you have a 30 students in the class, okay, you can divide the 30 students 15 and 15. You can start the debate, peer interaction. You should interact the students with the other students also. Okay, you should arouse the feeling of a cooperation among the students. You have seen in the classroom, when if it is a class of a 30 students, teacher is teaching in the class, some students are getting and some are not. Okay, those students are getting, they are not discussing with the other student. This is not a way. Constructivism wants to say that this is a responsibility of the teacher, okay, to arouse such kind of a feelings, cooperations, okay, between among the students. And next, to present tasks with real world application, right? The teacher, whatever the topic the teacher has to teach, compare the topic with a real world application. Only that student can grasp your teaching. Student can learn your whatever you want to say effectively, right? To align and design experience for the learner so that authentic relevant context can be experienced, right? Last देखिए, it is important. In the constructivist classroom, the goal of the teacher is to produce a democratic classroom environment that provides meaningful learning experiences for autonomous learners. And in some situations, you have seen that now teacher dominates the class. Okay, teacher does not allow the student to speak even. Okay, so you don't have to do such kind of a things. Okay, because you cannot get learning from that way, from that attitude. Constructivism classroom says that teacher has to produce the democratic environment in the class so that every student can discuss, right? Only then they can. Even guys, kya hota hai, what happens, you have seen that when the baby born, है ना, when the baby is a 1 year old, 2 year old, 3 year old, है ना, you have seen that he or she asks many questions, huh? And some parents, what the parents does, some the parents scolds, some the parents say that, okay, है ना, they don't give more attentions to the children. But actually we should give answers each and every questions of the student, because student is baby is asking, child is asking the questions due to the curiosity. Okay, right? So if being of a teacher, you provide such kind of a things, definitely, okay, there would be a lot of learning outcome in the class, and you will teach effectively to the students, right? Next, again, we say that what is the role of a teacher in constructivism classroom? From the constructivist perspective, the teacher is a guide who promotes classroom dialogue. Okay, promote the classroom dialogue, right? Say any student of the class, suppose you are a class of 25 students, 30 students, okay? Okay, allow the students to speak. Say the students, okay, come on the stage and, say to all the students, okay? Arrange the debate between them, right? Provides learning experiences and activities. Okay, don't make your class stereotype. Okay, provide some learning activities, provide some practical material, right? Encourages and supports students' effort. Encourage karna sikho, guys. Okay, try to encourage the students. In fact, right? There is a one research says that a researcher conducted the research on some of the teachers. So what happened, he took randomly 100 teachers and say the teachers to criticize their children. Okay, so teachers started criticizing the children up to 1 hour. Again, there is another activity. Researchers said to the all the 100 teachers, encourage and appreciate the student. They couldn't appreciate up to 5 minutes, in fact, right? When they start criticizing, they criticize up to the 1 hour. Okay, when the researcher said that you have to appreciate to your children, so they cannot appreciate even in 2 minutes, even in 5 minutes. So start appreciating the children, start encouraging the children. Constructivism says us, okay, from that method you can get more and more learning. Challenges students to think for themselves, plans experiences that engage students in working through ideas in their own minds. In this respect, the teacher is promoting, recognizing, and valuing the democratic concept of individual experience. Right, guys? So it should be the such all the points, okay, you have to keep in mind as a teacher in constructivist classroom. Okay, so sometimes this questions comes, what is a constructivist classroom? Okay, what is the role of a teacher in constructivist classroom? What is the role of a teacher according to the constructivism. So you have to mention all things, right, guys? Next, we talk about what is role of a learner. Constructivism in relations to learner. Constructivism requires that the learner must take active part in the knowledge getting process rather than being passive recipient. As an active inquirer of the knowledge, the student should try to make their own meaning and constructing their own knowledge while interacting within their class or social environment. Right? We understood now. We have discussed a lot of things about this. Constructivism, although puts much emphasis on constructing or discovering the knowledge by the child himself, by recommending the method like discovery learning, inquiry approach, social investigation, etc. Right? So guys, aap dekho na, constructivism, you know, topic came. So according to the constructivism, he wants to say that he has given the 3 methods also: discovery learning, inquiry approach, and social investigation. Constructivism wants to say that teacher should use such kind of a method. If I ask from you, tell me any method, okay, teaching method. Okay, think in your mind what you will say. Sir, lecture method. Hana? Sir, discussion method. Yeah, these are very old methods, okay, right? But you know, new methods has come in the teaching learning process, like discovery learning, inquiry approach, social investigation. From that method, if you know that method, only then you can teach effectively. This is the reason in a B.Ed, it is a teaching methodology course. You learn a lot of things, right? Next, it tries to encourage all the methods and techniques that are learner centered and encourages understanding and particularly the reflective level of teaching learning, right? So this is the role of a learner under the constructivism, right? Constructivist teaching, okay, we already done this part, planning for instruction, prior knowledge and experience. Okay, so guys, major theories we have already done. We are done with the behaviorism, we are done with the cognitivism, and today we are done with the constructivism. Okay, behaviorist, according to the behaviorist, learning described as change in the observable behavior of a learner made as a function of events in the environment. Okay, in a simple term, you can say that according to the behaviorism, okay, behaviorism gets the knowledge by giving the stimulations to the child, right? Cognitivism, what the cognitivism says, cognitivism talk about the observable and non-observable behavior, such as memory and motivation. And cognitivism talks about the memory, motivation. Okay, and when we talk about the constructivism says that accept behaviorist and cognitive precepts, but adds that learner construct their own knowledge through experience-based activities rather than being directed by the teacher. Okay, means we already done that as a human construct their own learning, okay, from the experience. So this is all done about the behaviorism, cognitivism and constructivism. Okay, if any difference come, so then you are able to define the difference. If different questions, if questions comes along, define the behaviorism and what is the role of a teacher and learner in the behaviorism. We are write the educational implications of a behaviorism. So you have to define all the things, right, guys? Thank you so much.